Why did people oppose the New Deal? Opposition to the New Deal started pretty much from the beginning. Many people said the New Deal gave the government too much power. They said the government was telling businesses how to operate, spending large sums of money and piling up a huge national debt. The main proponents of this argument were conservatives, who said that the New Deal was destroying free enterprise and undermining individualism. Many conservative Americans believed that the government was becoming too big and spending way too much money. A group of concerned citizens formed the American Liberty League and was opposed to the New Deal. This organization's main goal was to stop any New Deal legislation from continuing. The American Liberty League complained that the New Deal interfered too much with business and people's lives. They wanted the government out of business and a return to laissez-faire government. Their symbol of the Liberty Bell as their logo goes to the point that many of them felt that the government under FDR was becoming almost like a tyranny, intervening in business and limiting freedom. Conservatives also accused FDR of being a socialist, while the socialists charged him of only worrying about banking system and ensuring profits for businesses. It seems like Roosevelt was getting it from both ends of the spectrum. On the radical left, the criticism of the New Deal came from people such as Senator Huey Long. Senator Huey Long promoted the Share Our Wealth program. He wanted to put heavy taxes on the rich and use the money to give every American family a house, a car, and a decent income. His ideas gained a lot of popularity among the people who were struggling. This dangerous man, as Roosevelt once called him, could achieve power by giving to the poor and taking from the rich. Many Americans did not want this. In 1935, Huey Long was assassinated before running for president. Another critic of the New Deal was Father Charles Coughlin. Father Coughlin had a radio audience of 30 million Americans who listened to his weekly program. He criticized FDR and his radio show for not taking stronger action against bankers and rich investors. He wanted Roosevelt to do more. He called the New Deal Christ's Deal, that each person must be like Christ and help one another. He wanted FDR to go a little bit farther. He was also an advocate of fascism, and he was very anti-Semitic. The last critic of the New Deal was Dr. Francis Townsend. He proposed giving every American over 60 a pension of $200 a month. The idea was that if everyone had $200 a month, they would immediately spend it into the economy. However, people receiving the pensions would have to retire and free up the job for a younger American. This would take much government intervention. These populist critics were working for the working class. Francis Townsend wanted to give $200 a month to all citizens over age 60, the goal to produce economic recovery. Father Charles Coughlin said FDR is not doing enough. Huey Long, Share Our Wealth program, high taxes on the rich, and large businesses. Each of these men believed that FDR was not doing enough, that he should go more radical, more spending, more government intervention. So let's talk about why the New Deal comes under attack. The opposition to the New Deal was based on two things. The government was doing too much, or the government was not doing enough. Another component was deficit spending. The government was spending more money than it was taking in. In order to fund the New Deal, the government had to borrow money in order to fund the programs and raise taxes. Liberals argued that the New Deal did not do enough to help the poor and fix the economy. Conservatives believed the New Deal used to control business would socialize the economy. Well, the Supreme Court had a say too, because two of Roosevelt's major legislations were found unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. The court struck down the NIRA and the AAA as unconstitutional. Because of this, FDR felt that the court was holding back his New Deal programs, so FDR went after the courts. FDR proposed to Congress the court packing bill. In this bill, he was going to suggest adding 6 justices to the Supreme Court. That would change the number of 9 justices to 15. Obviously, since the president has the power to appoint justices to the Supreme Court, Roosevelt would be able to pick the new 6. He was hoping that he could pick 6 people who were kind to the New Deal and favor his policies. Immediately upon hearing of this plan, the public reacted negatively. Even supporters of Roosevelt thought he had stepped too far and seemed that he was trying to get too much power. It almost looked like he was trying to take over another branch of government.